Good morning. It's lovely to welcome everyone today to Cisco Live Recap, live from the Cisilion rebranded offices. My name is Nathan Ashby. I am one of the solution specialists that focus on the Cisco portfolio. I'm joined today by my colleague, Lee.
I'm Lee Gatland, Head of Presales here at Cisilion. So I run the team of solutions architects covering the range and the portfolio within the business here.
What we're going to cover today is our thoughts and vibes on what we captured when we were out in Amsterdam just a couple of weeks ago for Cisco Live. I think starting off, it's worth us talking about what the main themes, the main topics that Cisco were portraying this year. For myself, I think there was kind of a few key elements. Naturally, AI was heavily mentioned. There was security, and then there was a focus on overall simplicity and naturally a bit of sustainability sprinkled in. From your side, Lee, was there any kind of key themes and topics that you captured?
Yeah, no, it was across those sustainability, security, and simplicity being the main things that came across with as you said, AI across everything. I think we had a sweepstake at one point going through how many times AI could be mentioned in presentations, in meetings, and in sidebars at the conference. But it was a really good conference this year. Obviously, last year was the first one they did after COVID, and it felt smaller than previous Cisco Lives, whereas this year the event was much bigger. There was a real buzz this year around the event. Real excitement with where Cisco are going and what Cisco are doing across the portfolio. We're seeing a lot of I was going to say reinvention, but reinvigorating the portfolio across the security stack, bringing things together. A lot around Cisco WebEx, just not just WebEx on its own with the integration of AI and the analytics and the work they're doing in that space, but also a lot around the integrations with Microsoft now, so extending what they're doing with Microsoft and MCRs, etc. So it's really good, and sustainability, which we'll touch on a bit later, but was very much focused across everything that we're talking about all week. So yeah, a really good week.
Nice.
Strong offers.
I do enjoy the stripper one. I think with that in mind, I think it's worth us starting looking at each of those themes and covering the topics and products and solutions that are in play. If you may, I think I'd like to begin with the security element. I particularly found that quite exciting. There's quite a lot of announcements, in fairness, across the whole portfolio. Naturally, we spoke about AI. I think what we'll do with AI is just cover under each theme where that fit in. I think in terms starting with security then, I want to cover one of the things that personally I found super exciting, which is the talk and introduction now of AI assistants within their security products. Now, in particular, they were focusing on two of their security products, which is their Cisco Secure Access, and then ultimately with their firewalls, so the Firepower portfolios, having now AI assistants introduced. Now, I did get a chance to play around with them in the world of solutions and get a little demo of them. I think the first thing I'm going to call out is it's interesting that they talk about these AI assistants, and there's a range of them across all their portfolios, in fairness. They call it the Security AI Assistant, but it is ultimately only on two of the security portfolios at the moment. The reason why I can't call that out is I really think this is a start to it slowly being ramped up across every product range in some form. And I think we're at the early stages of AI ultimately, where we are now looking at where does AI fit in, what's the benefits it can drive, and I think ultimately the easy low-hanging fruit for all vendors and all technology solutions is how does that empower the users, the workforce. So the security assistants certainly are targeting network engineers, security engineers, the SOC users, etc., to ultimately make their lives easier, while also adding more value to those typical security product ranges that we have.
Yeah.
With that in mind, is there kind of any thoughts, feelings you had around those kind of elements that we saw?
Yes, I think it primarily, from our perspective, is more around simplicity. It's early days, and I think some of the things they're doing, I may actually question at this stage where they're going. It's certainly around some of the automating some of the rule changes, etc., based on generative natural language processing. But it's just making things easier for the administrators, making it easier to stand up and show where the breaches are occurring across the portfolio, and then helping the security administrators on how to respond to those breaches. The biggest issue with security is not the systems, it's the users, both from the end user, us as the consumer of IT, but also the administrators. It's very easy to make mistakes when you're coding, putting firewall rule sets in and those sort of things. So the more the machines can help, the better it is for us going forward. So, which is good. So yes, I think on the security side, there's a couple of other real key elements that jumped out for me. Certainly Cisco Identity Intelligence. Which is one of their bigger announcements I think it was on the keynote on day 2. And this is bringing together in a graph lots and lots of different identities. Everyone's got lots of identities out there, be it your Microsoft identities, and it could be other platforms out there, delivering identity to the user. That's managing those identities across the estate. And the more identity you've got, the more opportunities there is for breach and identities to go adrift. So Cisco put a lot of work into this identity intelligence platform to link all those identities together, which will make it easier for both the users and IT security administrators to identify out-of-date identities and anomalies in that user behaviour, which I think is a real step change in the way things are going. And it will work across multiple identity providers, so it doesn't matter where your identity is today. This will be something which will be able to help IT help going forward. The other one was around the whole user experience, and from a security perspective, and simplifying it for the user. Security isn't easy, and today we have lots of barriers, but complications from a user's perspective. Firing up VPNs, connecting to this, connecting to that, depending on where you're going. So their focus, I think their phrase was delivering zero trust with zero friction, which actually makes sense. Users just want to access their applications and their data, their information. They don't care how they do it, and the easier we can make that for the users better. So that's now there within the Cisco portfolio to deliver. So I think that's really key.
No, I agree. And just to touch on a couple of points that you raised there. Firstly, on the identity intelligence, again, I think this is a very strong recognition from Cisco in terms of where the largest vulnerability exists within infrastructure as a whole. Focusing on the users, focusing on scenarios where someone might have been compromised based on pretending to be someone else, or my CEO texts me and told me to buy some Amazon Apple vouchers and send me their login details. It's those elements. I think very strongly it also speaks about what we're seeing more and more from Cisco. Last year was talked better together scenario with Microsoft Teams on WebEx devices, which historically speaking, that will probably have been something a lot of us will say, no, that's WebEx is WebEx, Teams is Teams, but they are joining up. And I think in particular, the reason I call that out again around identity intelligence is the fact this isn't talking about you needing to have all your identity in Cisco products. In reality, yes,
it's the opposite actually.
Exactly. And whether you're using Microsoft Entra, which is, let's be frank, probably the most common identity source you're going to have, or you have multiple domains of forests of identity merged up using a tool such as Okta. This is now something that Cisco are approaching to provide security in a very robust manner of taking, no matter where the source of the data, no matter where the user is logging in from it, and providing that streamlined source for the security teams to protect us. So
Yeah.
I think that demonstrates, again, with this new product portfolio, what they're doing in terms of collaboration across all security vendors and solutions.
Yeah, indeed, indeed.
And with that in mind, and keeping it still on a security focus, there was talks again of their Cisco XDR platform.
Yes.
I think the enhancements around that again re-highlight the same point around identity intelligence, where actually this is an XDR platform that is not focused on you explicitly needing Cisco secure endpoint everywhere or Cisco firewalls explicitly. Naturally, having a single portfolio provides benefits, but there's recognition that some might use other vendor firewalls and in turn need the XDR platform that truly is persuasive of whichever vendor you use in there.
Yeah.
So that's shown developments in terms of how open that is. Another element on XDR, which I'll cover very briefly because it is quite new, and I think it's exciting because it's new for Cisco in terms of the territory they're entering, in my opinion, which is their XDR is getting a new mechanism aligned to it called recovery. Premise being as simple as it sounds, that if a threat occurs and XDR detects it, the platform will then automatically take snapshots of your environment so that you can recover from a potential ransomware or security threat within seconds from the event, opposed to losing perhaps 12 hours of data.
Well, they were talking about recovery point objectives of 0,
Yes.
which is very very impressive. So yeah, no, it's definitely a game changer. That's a step forward.
Absolutely. In terms of security, you mentioned around the VPNs ensuring frictionless user experiences. I think in particular, thinking about Cisco product and some of the enhancements around that, there was talks again of their Cisco Secure Access, which was released only late last year in terms of general availability.
Yeah.
But we're already seeing quite fast improvements and product updates to it. Was there anything in particular you captured from a secure access perspective and how that helps that frictionless user experience?
Something that's very, very pertinent to me and something I'm very interested in, the integration of Thousand Eyes and observability into that secure access platform. Observability and delivering assurance to the user experience is paramount. IT is rubbish without the users. The users need it, and it needs to deliver a service. And with the user now being anywhere, you need to monitor and manage that experience regardless. And embedding Thousand Eyes now into secure access delivers that. Gives the ability to provide that visibility, insights into the user experience, regardless now of where that user is located. So it's a massive, massive step change.
Absolutely. And I went over and actually saw the secure access integration of Thousand Eyes at Work Solution booths. And it was really interesting because naturally it's got Thousand Eyes in it. Okay, we can see the application performance, get end-to-end visibility of where the user is to regardless of application location.
Yeah.
But really interesting, it had a slightly different dashboard than what we're traditionally used to with Thousand Eyes, and it was labelled Experience Insights.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you did or didn't get a chance to see the portal, but it actually captured so much more than just that networking visibility. It started to show some of that end user visibility, which is typically things like your memory, your CPU, your connection to the wireless gateways, elements that, in fairness, Thousand Eye already has visibility into. The way they displayed it was just, and think of the word simplicity, was just such an easy view for anyone within a administrative role getting a user complaint or trying to see it.
Yeah.
Within a quick glance at that page, you can immediately tell the overall performance to a certain app, or you can immediately tell this user here, if I click this desktop, it clearly is having user experiences issues because their memories are 100% and they can't open anything else.
Yeah, no, it's because it's all now in the one dashboard as well. You're not having to bounce between thousands of dashboards and security dashboard, etc. They're standing a lot of that information up together, which is really, really powerful, which is good.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we will increasingly see more from Cisco now, where actually they have quite a few portfolios of products that do traditionally sit semi-siloed to a point, but the integrations that are occurring from observability and simplicity perspective is really now being empowered.
Yeah, which leads on to quite nicely. And actually, one of the elements, I had a sidebar meeting with some execs out there, and one of the things they're working extremely hard on is that the look and feel. So actually, something that's quite light normally, but when you look at the various platforms within Cisco, it isn't just a Cisco. This is across the board. Every vendor has this issue, but lots of different management platforms all look different, and there is a process going in place now to make things look the same, regardless if you manage it on premise, you manage it in the cloud. It can be disparate systems, but starting to provide that single look and feel across the board, so you're comfortable managing those environments, making it simple for the users, which is really, really important.
I agree. I think that was highlighted with something they started last year, in fairness, but are continuing that journey on. But when we think of traditional networking here, so your switching, your wireless, etc., Cisco kind of have two clear portfolios really from a campus perspective, being your Catalyst ranges, aka Catalyst switching, Catalyst wireless, your DNA centers or Catalyst center, I apologise. And then likewise a Meraki style solution. Last year they started to show this slight blur occurring, where they're empowering IT teams to have the flexibility of choice based on their use case. And that was further enhanced this year with the announcement of the Catalyst wireless monitoring. I suppose with those exec meetings you attended, that further reinforces the journey.
It does. Well, they were using Meraki as the example of what the dashboard of the future looks like. And there's the WebEx one is that the WebEx control is going that way. To have the similar look and feel as Meraki, and you'll see that with the Cisco observability platform as well, starting to go down some sort of route. But that bringing Catalyst into the Meraki world is really good. We see customers now don't have just a Catalyst estate or just a Meraki estate; they have a blended estate based on the needs of the site and the environments, and having that single management plane, but still with the benefits of running DNA center, etc., to manage your Catalyst estates, but having the ability to still have the visibility to monitor and have elements of capabilities within the Meraki side as well. So from a usability perspective, it's a lot easier, which is powerful. Obviously, this was announced last year from the Catalyst switches, and this year was with Catalyst Wi-Fi now coming into that plane. Everyone knows. The Meraki dashboard is very easy to use. Packet captures. It was one of the use cases they raised. A packet capture on the Meraki dashboard is a couple of clicks, and you get very powerful information out of the platform. To do the same thing on a Catalyst switch, you need to know how to do it. It's not a simple task. Now, with cloud monitoring the Catalyst environment in the Meraki dashboards, you can now have the same functionality. So instead of having to know how to code and interrogate a Catalyst switch to get that tab, you can now do it directly in the Meraki console.
No, great.
Which is great. And this is available if you've got the DNA licensing on the switches. You've got it now. You just need to create the account in the Meraki dashboard and import them in, and it's done.
No, great.
Very, very simple.
Absolutely. I think it's worth calling out. This is elements that we can start helping our customers on ultimately. Across a range of the announcements, in fairness, some of it naturally is not formally released yet, some of the products, as always is the case. But certainly around Catalyst monitoring and the Catalyst side and the Meraki side, these are things that really we encourage that are starting to be tested and used because it empowers your teams.
So the wireless is coming in April. And the Catalyst switches are already there. They're already there. And it's a very simple process to onboard.
Yes, absolutely. I'm thinking of slightly other side here of Cisco portfolio being the collaboration end. We spoke at the start around the AI assistants, and I think it's worth us calling that out again from a collaboration perspective from WebEx side of play there. Is there any particular elements that you saw there that particularly excited you?
So from an AI assistance perspective, yes, they're rolling this out across the portfolio. AI assistants. We talked earlier about how they integrated into the security platform.
Yeah.
And that's now also integrated into WebEx Control Hub, with the focus around simplifying the onboarding, the setup of WebEx environments, and also the ongoing administration and troubleshooting. So it gives you the ability now to use natural language to be able to go and interrogate and get assistance within WebEx Control Hub. It will never replace the skills of the human, but it's there to just guide and just make things quicker and easier from that perspective.
No, definitely.
Yeah, and obviously AI is being rolled out across that WebEx estate. They've got most WebEx kit now has got an integrated NVIDIA chipsets in there. Actually running this on Cisco WebEx kit today with hopefully the sound is good because of that. The integrated NVIDIA chipsets, it's there doing in hardware the noise reduction, removing all the background noise, improving the video processing, the framing, etc. is all being done in hardware using the NVIDIA chipsets. So building AI at the edge. As opposed to in the cloud, so giving it real power, which is really impressive.
Absolutely. I think from further to that, in terms of the AI elements I saw from a WebEx perspective, was around effectively the assistants noting and almost transcribing calls, which is not too similar to what we're seeing across the industry from that perspective.
Yeah.
However, it kind of took it to a slightly different level that I haven't seen in competitors yet, where, for example, it was transcribing a call, but it was taking and reacting based on what was occurring. So if I got up now and popped away for a quick coffee break, it would then start transcribing explicitly based on me not being there for me. So it's not just then a script saying, "I'll quickly scroll through the last 5 minutes." It's going to, as I come back, camera switch back on, brought back to me, "Nathan, you were called out during these few minutes for this action." So I think it's those elements again where, and you called out a good point when you were talking about Control Hub. These AI tools aren't necessarily designed to replace administrators or individuals from their jobs, but in fact, it's making our lives easier. So from a supportability perspective, it's simplifying it, one of the key themes. And then likewise, from a usability perspective, it's making our lives more enjoyable in terms of some of our day-to-day tasks that may be considered more those admin elements.
Indeed.
Thinking of some other announcements then in particular, and we'll keep on the AI track just because the conversation we're in at the moment. Was there anything else in particular you noted there outside of announcements around products, but kind of their partnerships, etc., that they're working on?
So NVIDIA is was forefront. We just mentioned them anyway with the integrations that we're doing on the WebEx side. But the partnership between Cisco and NVIDIA is getting greater. The integration now of NVIDIA directly into the UCS platform, so the Cisco compute platforms, is key. They're very much focused on driving and democratizing AI and providing platforms now for organizations to build their own AI models, their own AI platforms. It's great that these large organizations are building AI into their SaaS applications, etc., but actually bringing it down to organizations to start building out themselves AI platforms is key. So Cisco have put a lot of focus on that. So with the Cisco UCS platforms, there's an element here tying with Nutanix as well, and the relationship that's now growing from the Nutanix perspective. But they've just released Cisco Validated Designs (CVDs) to help organisations on their own AI journey. So ratified solutions based on Cisco UCS hardware, compute plus storage from other vendors into there, and the AI, the NVIDIA chipsets embedded into there, which is key. Really good to see.
No, I agree.
Simplifying it.
And it's something, to be fair, that Cisco iterated very clearly that these CVDs haven't been generated just based on theory crafting, sitting there going, right, remove zeros.
It's what they've done. They're doing it themselves.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. It's fully what they've built out, and I suspect a lot of these AI assistants are likely running off this same blueprint that they put together. Blueprint being the key word there.
Well,
Which can be
CVDs, most Cisco validated designs are where Cisco themselves have done it. You know, Cisco, the CIO on one of the keynotes came up and you know, he described himself as user zero, I think was his phrase. And everything they do is tested on themselves. So these CVDs, you know, we're talking about the UCS and AI CVDs here, but actually all of them are based, most of them are based on where they've done it themselves on their own environments and learned and been burnt, no doubt, been burnt, no doubt as well. But yeah, that's why we can trust them, you know, building their systems.
And I think, you know, a lot of the framework those CVDs are based on, as well, to be reasonably clear, are based on their platforms that already exist and can be brought and built up. So these are elements for organisations of that scale that are looking, exploring whether they want to, you know, develop their own AI, machine learning, based on their own bespoke apps and bespoke systems, can base it on systems that they can start building out now as well. So it's not a case that they have to wait and go all in at once and build it. Actually, the principles of these architectures are all scalable. So, you know, you can start it out based on leaf and spine and typical data center technologies and scale it as and when the organisation finds the benefits and reaps the time saving from those AI systems.
Indeed.
And I think, just glancing at the time, obviously, we're nearly up, in fairness. So I think the last element in particular that we haven't really touched on yet is around some of the sustainability elements that Cisco are driving. I think something they've always been very hot on and very focused on as an organisation. What did you see out of this one in terms of that?
Sustainability was actually, along with AI, was a theme across the board. I lost a good couple of hours wandering around the sustainability stand there, actually watching them disassemble IT equipment and breaking it down to its component parts. I had a really good chat with the guy there about what they're doing. At the moment, they are, I think it's 99.8% of all equipment they bring back is either recycled or reused, which is a phenomenal amount.
Incredible.
It's 0.2% currently of everything they bring back at the end of life is currently not recycled or reused. And the guy I was talking to, fascinating what they're doing at the moment. They're speaking to organisations to see what they can do with that 0.2%. Which is, it doesn't sound a lot, but actually it's still a fair amount of stuff that's left. But it's the stuff that can't be broken down to its component parts now. They're looking at how they can actually use that to go into road surfaces, things like that. So reduce that even smaller, which is really, really, really cool. And it just drives that circular economy. So taking back old equipment, and it has that net effect. So the new equipment that's going out there is much, much more efficient. So the investments that Cisco are making into Silicon One, which is their own silicon, I remember several years ago, I was out at a Cisco event. I used to be on the advisory board with Cisco, and when they launched Silicon One, or they launched the concept of Silicon One, shall I say, about 7 years ago now. And the reasons behind that, we're now seeing the benefits of this, where it's their own silicon, they can control it, they can control the manufacturer, they can control the performance and the things they can do with it. And so they're seeing the reduction in emissions, the power consumption of Cisco equipment is greatly reduced because of Silicon One and the control they've got. So the net effect, obviously, they're reusing everything that's coming back. So there's reducing the amount going to landfill, reducing the impact of the old equipment, but also as part of that replacement cycle, we're then reducing upfront CO2 emissions, or the emissions that are in life within a data center. And part of this driven, AI is driving a lot of power. AI engines are power hungry, very, very power hungry. And again, back around to CVDs with Cisco and working with NVIDIA, they've put a lot into driving down that power consumption. So while the requirement for AI is driving more power, the need for more power, which is driving up CO2, etc., that IT is consuming and producing, they're then doing a lot of work to then drive that back down again to reduce the net effect. But also, when you look at everything else that Cisco are doing around collaboration platforms, the analytics that they're putting in there, we're in a room here with we've got sensors all over the place in here. I went a little bit to town with what we put into our new suites in London, but the data we're getting out of these sensors and what we can do with those just plays into that sustainability message, taking feeds on how these spaces are being used, feeding them back in via API into platforms, which could be either your building management systems, feeding that into the systems to shut down your switches, shut down your access points, and all those sort of things. It's all well, it's easy, but it's very, very feasible, all within the platforms that Cisco are providing, either directly from the Meraki platforms or from Cisco Spaces and those sort of things. So it's really good to see that sustainable message and generally the ESG message actually falls across the entire portfolio. Obviously, AI plays a big part of that, but we have to use the word AI a lot.
I'm really glad you called that out. It's not just the hardware platform Cisco's invested and built up that are helping on that sustainability journey. But you clearly called out some of the software components there that actually help businesses get a tangible benefit reasonably quickly from the investments they've already made. Something obviously that you've clearly invested in as you were building out and obviously refurbing the technology suite in these offices. So no, I think that is a solid message there. I think, just as a closing statement for everyone, Cisco Live this year, main themes again was focused on that security, simplicity, and sustainability, sprinkled across with a range of AI that helps achieve that. This is something that, again, we're happy at Cisilion to spend time to make sure that you get the messages in terms of what this means for you and your business based on what you have in place, what your drivers are, what excites you. And again, we'll be happy to host you in these offices that we've just refurbed and get you into a brand new client experience centre to discuss some of these updates further. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much.